In this video, I'm going to go into our XYZ standards.dgnlive and take a look at our mesh components, our mesh feature definitions, and give a little more explanation into the volume options and what those are set for. So if we first look at our volume options, we'll notice if we click on the drop down, there's a design, existing, none, a subgrade, substrata, cut, fill, unsuitable, and custom. And each mesh will have its own volume option set. So let's take a look at design for the first example. So your design option is set for a mesh or terrain or terrains that are proposed design. And then the cut fill tool will find the bottom of all the elements that have a feature definition that has volume option of design, and it compares it to existing ground. So what does that mean? Let's take a look at a DGN file that has our template pushed down. So what that is our design elements are anything that are coming from our proposed model. So it would be our aggregate type A, our curbs, sidewalks, our utility strip meshes, our side slope or slope meshes. Any of those is going to take a look at the bottom point and compare that to our existing ground. So that's design. And design elements, if we take a look back at our dgnlive, are anything aggregate. There's also some design elements in our asphalt components or our meshes, and we also have the option to assign item types. So that's design is anything that's coming from our ITL and putting down our corridor. It will compare that to the existing ground. So next, let's take a look at existing. And existing is going to be a little bit different. We're only going to assign our existing to our terrain elements, so we can compare our design elements to our terrain. So if we take a look at our existing terrain elements, we'll notice that the volume option on all those are set to existing. And what this will do is it finds all meshes or terrains that are existing and formulates a composite mesh sheet for earthwork. Typically, the existing ground is a terrain. So all our existing terrains, but you could assign different meshes to that as well if you wanted to compare your design to your existing ground surface. So what's next? Let's take a look at our concrete. And those are design elements. So if one is set to none, let's take a look at example for none. And the none option is going to be things like a bridge or structural elements that you don't want to compare. So if we take a look at our meshes that are located in our structural, those are going to be for bridges. And if it's set to none, so that mesh or terrain is totally ignored when the earthwork is computed. This is good for items like structures. There's no fill under a bridge. So we have those all set for our structure elements. We'd also set that for guardrail elements. So those are some of the simpler items. Let me just take a look at the volume options again. So that was a design volume option, existing, and none. And again, design volume option is a mesh or terrain that are proposed design. The cut fill tool finds the bottom of all elements that have a feature definition that has volume option of design and compares it to existing ground. If it's set to existing, it finds all mesh or terrains that are existing and formulates a composite mesh sheet for earthwork. Typically the existing ground is a terrain, so our existing is going to be our existing terrains. And then none are going to be set for elements that we don't want to compute at all or ignored. elements like, or meshes, and elements like guardrail and structural that don't have a mesh component underneath them.